and Jenkins have not posted in almost a week, so let's talk about it. People are starting to think that they're bolting and running because they have not posted, and she was just saying how she was hacked and that there was a bunch of cars coming in and out of the motel. And Deshaun's mom just got her visitation rights with Deshaun. And we all know that Stephanie hates it because she has no part in it. No say, no part, nothing. And so everybody's thinking that they're moving again or going somewhere because they were talking about moving. And just a couple months ago, I do remember telling you guys that they were talking about moving states. So let's not be surprised if they actually do this because they've been talking about it. Now, as far as moving when Deshaun just got visitation with his mom, I don't know how that works. I don't know what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. But if legally they can, that's still a shitty thing to do because he just got visitation with his mom.
Stephanie Jenkins has always been the kind of creator who brings her whole life to the internet, unfiltered, unpredictable, and sometimes just plain chaotic. Her followers are used to seeing everything from messy story times and impulsive rebrands to emotional parenting moments and offbeat humor. But lately, something's felt different. Off. And not in a way that felt strategic or quirky. This time, the silence was loud. For nearly a week, Stephanie disappeared from her main TikTok page. No updates, no skits, no random voiceovers or chaotic dances. Not even the occasional repost or vague post breakdown giggle. It was a digital dead zone, and for someone whose entire livelihood and identity revolves around being online, that silence didn't go unnoticed. Her most loyal followers immediately picked up on the shift. Comments started piling up on old videos, people asking if she was okay, if she'd moved again, if this was another soft rebrand, or if something more serious was going on. It wasn't just that she vanished. It was how she vanished. No warning. No, I'll be back soon. No mental health break announcement. It felt like she was hiding. And as it turns out, she was. Out of nowhere, Stephanie reappeared, but not where people expected. She didn't come back to her main platform. Instead, she quietly posted on her subscriber-only page. And what she shared there was rawer than anything she's ever posted before. Gone was the dramatic delivery, the exaggerated voiceovers, the polished angles. In their place was a dimly lit room, a tired face, and a voice that cracked with every few words. In the nearly 30-minute video, Stephanie peeled back the last layer of the persona she's carefully crafted. She started by talking about the stress of living in a single motel room with Drew and their 5 kids. There was no privacy. No space to decompress. No room for adult conversations, and absolutely no space for romantic connection. She explained how even just 5 uninterrupted minutes with Drew felt like an impossible ask. And then, in a moment so subtle that many had to rewind just to make sure they heard it right, she dropped a quiet bombshell. She said Drew would only show interest in being intimate after watching explicit content. She didn't make a big scene out of it. She didn't accuse him, scream about it, or even linger too long on the subject. But the way she said it so quietly, almost like she couldn't believe she was saying it out loud, told everyone just how much it hurt. That one sentence held more pain than the whole 30 minutes combined, because it wasn't just about sex. It was about rejection. About feeling like she wasn't enough for the man she shared her life with. About being someone's partner, co-parent, and emotional support system, but still being seen as not desirable unless something artificial was involved. It was soul-crushing, not in a dramatic way, but in a quietly devastating one.
Y'all, Stephanie has not posted on her account in almost 5 days, except for one sub-only video. And if I was a subscriber, I would personally be very upset over the content she posts and the infrequency of that content. I mean, if I paid that kind of money a month to see sub-only videos, I would want the content put out. I do know that Drew has posted on his account and he went back to work door dashing. However, that's all very sus to me, too. Why does he have his girlfriend's daughter with him and not his own son? I mean, we all know that he has to take one of the kids because of Stephanie thinks that he's out doing other things while he's supposed to be working. But why take the little girl and not your own son? That's just very, to me. Anyway, y'all, this is just very odd that they would even be MIA, especially with the fact of the matter that the visitations are supposed to start tomorrow between Desiree and Deshaun. That means Drew is supposed to take Deshaun to the park to meet Desiree tomorrow. And they go missing on the week that all this is supposed to happen. Y'all, this makes me wonder if they will even show up to the park tomorrow. I'm praying so hard for Desiree and Deshaun. This reunification needs to happen, and it needs to happen ASAP. I do know that Rights and Rights said that they could go back before July the 10th if needed, for like a little emergency.
And then, just like that, the video was deleted. Less than half an hour after it went live, it was gone. No explanation. No follow-up. Just wiped. But the internet has eyes and screen recordings, and it didn't take long for snippets and summaries to start floating around. The question quickly became, why did she delete it? There are plenty of theories. Some think Drew saw it and freaked out. Others say she probably panicked once the adrenaline wore off and realized just how vulnerable she had allowed herself to be. Some say it wasn't meant to be shared at all, that it was supposed to be a private release and she hit post before she was emotionally ready for the world to know. Whatever the reason, it was clear the damage had already been done. Not to her brand. To her. Later that same day, Stephanie posted on Threads, and this time she didn't bother with vagueness or humor. Her post simply read, "I may have been the ugly choice, but I will never have you question my loyalty." It hit like a punch. It wasn't cryptic. It wasn't witty. It was the rawest statement she's ever put out. That first part, "ugly choice," says everything. It wasn't said sarcastically. It wasn't self-deprecating in a playful way. It was a heartbreaking admission. Stephanie genuinely sees herself as the woman Drew settled for. Not the one he chased, not the one he desired, not the one who lights him up, but the fallback, the safe choice. The one who was there. And hearing her say it out loud, even indirectly, was gutting. But the second half of that sentence? That's where the pain really sharpened. "I will never have you question my loyalty." That wasn't for the fans. That was for Drew. A direct response to something he accused her of. Cheating, maybe. Emotional unavailability. Something big enough to make her feel like she had to defend herself publicly. This wasn't a spat over dishes or parenting routines. This was deep, personal, and painful. Stephanie, in that moment, wasn't trying to clap back. She was trying to be heard. Trying to say, "I know I'm not perfect. I know you might not even want me. But I was always loyal. I chose you. I stayed." It wasn't an attack. It was a plea. And that's what makes all of this even sadder. That one post? It wasn't just a sentence, it was a breakdown in disguise. Every ounce of heartbreak, frustration, fear, and emotional exhaustion Stephanie had been bottling up came spilling out, quietly but unmistakably. This wasn't just a typical couple's spat. It was the kind of emotional rift that makes someone stop and think, what am I even doing here? She wasn't lashing out, she wasn't yelling. She chose to bleed in silence. That aching sentence she posted said more than any dramatic video ever could. When love gets replaced with fear, even a motel starts to feel more like a cage than shelter. Let's rewind. Stephanie and Drew are raising 5 kids in one motel room. Think about that, not just cramped, but claustrophobic.
Thompson, whatever, from the Brazilian Jenkins, posted the sub-only video that she posted and deleted immediately. Why? She was talking about her and King Daddy Drew's intimacy and that they can't get no alone time because they have everybody and their mother in the hotel room, hotel shelter, Holiday Inn with them. Well, Steph, we should have thought about these things. I mean, you didn't think this was going to be an issue if all 7 y'all lived in a one-room shelter motel thing? I mean, what did you think was going to happen? That the kids were going to hide in a closet so you and King Daddy Drew can multiply and keep multiplying? Like, I think the last thing you should be worrying about is intimacy right now. The first thing you should worry about is trying to find a bigger place for them babies. You know, maybe if that's not your first priority, maybe getting them some clothes that fit them or some toys so they can play with them instead of rocks and dirt and, you know, not intimacy. If you ask my opinion, I think y'all should hold off on the intimacy thing because obviously all that does is make y'all kick out more babies. And until your living situation does a full 360 460 times. We shouldn't be talking about intimacy, honey. We should not. We should not. What do y'all think about this? Do you think her priorities are messed up? That she should be thinking about other things besides intimacy issues with her king?
I love my partner and I wouldn't say nothing negative about him, but it wouldn't hurt him to say he has appreciation for me every now and again, to tell me that he finds me attractive, but that just seems like it's fucking vinegar on his tongue or something. So I gotta know, like, is there other women who can relate to this? Like, does your man not ever tell you you're attractive and you just kind of like have to assume he's still attracted to you? I mean, like I said, with the whole editing and everything, I feel like women write the script for their men because, and I mean, I know we're tired, we got kids, we have a life, but isn't like in our 30s a little bit young to just barely have a sexual life? Like, something's off, yo.
I can say I really do know every occasion he's told me I'm attractive or I'm beautiful, because I pay attention to that stuff. That means a lot to me, and it's been 3 times in the past 3 years. So, and I don't know, but for me personally, when you have a woman in your life, and especially when you have one who struggles with really bad anxiety and self-confidence issues, talk the girl up every now and again. It's not gonna kill you. It's just not gonna kill you, man.
That's a space where sleep, stress, parenting, and pain all exist within arm's reach. No doors to slam, no corners to cry in, nowhere to breathe. The walls don't separate people, they trap them together. There's no intimacy, no alone time. You stop being romantic partners. You become 2 exhausted teammates trying to keep a sinking ship afloat. And yet, Stephanie chose this setup. Not for peace or comfort, but for control. That tiny motel room made it easy for her to always know where Drew was. No sneaky nights out, no unexpected "I'm staying at a friend's." He was there, always. She didn't build a home, she built a watchtower, a place where he couldn't leave without her knowing, because he literally had nowhere else to go. It wasn't about love. It was about keeping him in sight. But that fragile bubble? It's breaking. The court ordered Drew to get a job, whether he wanted to or not, because he's legally obligated to support his other child. And that changes everything. Now he's out of the room, out in the world. Interacting with people, moving around. Gaining independence. And to Stephanie, that shift isn't just inconvenient, it's threatening. She's not afraid of the job. She's afraid of what happens when she's no longer the one in control of his every move. When she no longer knows exactly who he's with or where he's going. Not because she's evil, but because deep down, she doesn't fully trust him. And maybe, she doesn't fully believe that she's enough to make him stay on his own. Which brings us to the most talked about moment of the week, Drew's DoorDash run. His first real job in a while, and he didn't go alone. He didn't take his own son. He didn't take one of the kids he shares with Stephanie. No, he took her youngest daughter. Not his. Hers. To anyone else, it might seem harmless. But people familiar with Stephanie's story know better. This didn't feel random. It felt intentional. Why her daughter? Why now? There's speculation that this wasn't just a ride along, it was a quiet mission. That Stephanie may have sent her daughter not to spend time with Drew, but to keep an eye on him. A little pair of eyes she could trust. Someone who could come back and answer the unspoken questions lingering in her mind. Was it ever said out loud? Probably not. But kids are smart. They pick up on vibes. And that little girl? She may have ended up caught in the crossfire of 2 adults who are unraveling fast. If that's what happened, it's heartbreaking. Not just because Stephanie felt the need to spy, but because she used her own child to do it. When love fades, paranoia moves in. And even if Stephanie didn't mean harm, the fact that she saw her daughter as the safest pair of eyes to monitor Drew says everything about where things stand. And this insecurity? It's not new. Stephanie has long struggled with feeling invisible, with not being enough. Her entire online journey has been laced with posts about body image, self-doubt, and the pain of giving your all and still feeling unwanted. She's begged for compliments. Asked if she looked okay. Tried harder to be noticeable. And Drew's response? Usually nothing. A shrug. Silence. A glance that doesn't linger, and that's worse than being alone. Being with someone who looks through you, who makes you feel like you don't exist, cuts deeper than loneliness ever could. She's been honest about her battles with self-worth, especially as a mom raising daughters. How do you teach young girls to love themselves when you can't even look in the mirror without wincing? For a while, she was open about the pain. Then she got quieter, tried to polish it, pretend she was healing. But the breakdowns, the deleted posts, the long, tearful rants, they all revealed the truth. She never really healed. She just tried to hide the mess behind a filter.
Have gone MIA, you guys, and I think it's because her king daddy Drew has a big boy job. Unfortunately, he had to claim disability, or almost. He almost had to claim disability because he delivered a spicy gordita crunch and a Chipotle order by 12 o'clock, and that is the hardest he's ever worked. And if you don't know, he actually has heart problems, according to Stephanie Jenkins. But her man is securing that bag, like I'm saying, like he is on top of it. He's making so much money that she doesn't have to post anymore. But to be quite honest, this is so, like, I'm just being sarcastic. And what I really think that Drew Jenkins is doing is he's trying to make sure that Arlita doesn't see her son under the false pretenses of working hard, because he doesn't ever work this hard. As a matter of fact, not only did he have to work, he went home, cleaned up with his PS5 PlayStation headset on, played some games. Like, he didn't play that many games. I think he played like 300 games, and then he clocked back in for 30 minutes to pick up like a Kroger order or something. This is unheard of. This is going to wear him down. That's 10 years of his life he's never getting back, you guys. Anyways, go ahead and follow me for more content like this, because this is just hilarious.
The kids are not allowed to eat food unless Drew is there and gets the first plate. What? In her latest video, after going MIA for about 4 or 5 days, she talks about how she's making dinner all the time, right? We always see her preparing food, but guess what? We are not allowed to see the kids eat until Drew gets home, takes off his shoes, I guess, from his 12-hour shift at Uber. He's Uber royalty right now. And then the kids can only eat after he's already had his plate. She admitted this doesn't happen until 9 to 10:30 sometimes. But it's okay because the babies can be up that late. It's summertime. I kind of agree with the fact that it's not a big deal if the kids are up late, especially if they're matching and mirroring your schedule. What is not okay is the fact that King Daddy Drew is not able to work a microwave and heat up his own meal. I genuinely wish I was making this up, but I'm not.
And just when things seemed like they couldn't get more complicated, life threw her another punch. The court ruled that Drew must now set up a formal visitation schedule with his first child's mother, his ex. And for Stephanie, that wasn't just paperwork. That was war. That meant he had to talk to the woman who came before her. The one who still lingers in her head as a threat. Not just because of the past, but because of the unspoken fear. What if he looks at her and remembers something better? What if he compares? So now, Drew is legally tied to a woman Stephanie sees as a symbol of everything she's afraid of: being left, being replaced, not measuring up. And she has no choice but to watch it happen, slowly, painfully, legally. It's not just a co-parenting meeting. Not for Stephanie. These scheduled meetups, mandated or not, are doing more than coordinating a child's life. They're tearing at the seams of her emotional stability. For her, this isn't a routine. It's a painful reminder that the man she's with, Eju, is still tied, in a very real way, to someone he once loved first, someone he had a child with. And whether he swears it's platonic or not, that connection feels threatening. Not because it's inappropriate, but because it's out of her control. She can't stop it. She can't block it. She can't even pretend it's not happening. This isn't social media. There's no option to mute the discomfort. The reality is, this situation is permanent, and it's been imposed on her life like an uninvited guest she now has to smile at. It's reopening wounds she barely managed to scar over, questions about her desirability, her place in Ju's heart, and whether she was ever truly his first choice at all. And Ju? Nothing. No comment. No reassurance. No digital sign that he sees what she's going through, let alone cares. While she's visibly unraveling online, eyes tired, smiles strained, words cracking between breaths, he stays radio silent, not even a like. Not a single effort to protect her from the narrative building in real time. And sometimes silence is louder than any insult. It's not neutral. It's dismissive. Stephanie has always needed one thing, to feel chosen. Not just loved in the grand gestures, but seen in the small moments, wanted when she's messy and vulnerable. That's all she's ever asked. And yet, right now, she looks like someone talking into a void, hoping that somewhere, someone hears her, and we do. Her followers. Strangers who comment, "You're not crazy," who send heart emojis and virtual hugs. Because the man next to her? He seems checked out. The truth is, she's not just reaching for attention. She's reaching for connection. When the person who's supposed to hold you closest won't even look up, you start reaching through screens. And that's exactly where she's at. This love story was never balanced. Stephanie wanted something healing. Ju wanted something stable. She brought emotion. He brought convenience.
Y'all, Stephanie has not posted on her account in almost 5 days, except for one sub-only video. And if I was a subscriber, I would personally be very upset over the content she posts and the infrequency of that content. I mean, if I paid that kind of money a month to see sub-only videos, I would want the content put out. I do know that Drew has posted on his account and he went back to work door dashing. However, that's all very sus to me too. Why does he have his girlfriend's daughter with him and not his own son? I mean, we all know that he has to take one of the kids because of Stephanie thinks that he's out doing other things while he's supposed to be working. But why take the little girl and not your own son? That's just very, to me. Anyway, y'all, this is just very odd that they would even be MIA, especially with the fact of the matter that the visitations are supposed to start tomorrow between Desiree and Deshawn. That means Drew is supposed to take Deshawn to the park to meet Desiree tomorrow. And they go missing on the week that all this is supposed to happen. Y'all, this makes me wonder if they will even show up to the park tomorrow. I'm praying so hard for Desiree and Deshawn. This reunification needs to happen, and it needs to happen ASAP. I do know that Rights and Rights said that they could go back before July the 10th if needed, for like a little emergency.
She anchored the chaos. He floated through it. She's still here because she believes love can fix it. That if she keeps showing up, more present, more forgiving, more giving, he'll eventually show up too. But what if he never does? What if he's already gotten everything he wants out of this relationship without ever having to truly invest? For him, this works. He gets care, consistency, and a functioning household without ever having to reciprocate emotionally. She's exhausted, and he's coasting. And now, those little cracks? They're splitting wider. The break she's taking isn't a break, it's a breakdown. Not the screaming, storming out kind. The quiet kind. The one where someone fades while still standing in the same place, holding everything together by sheer willpower. Her posts, her silence, her detachment, it's all pointing to someone who's emotionally drained and running on fumes. She's not just heartbroken. She's worn out. Empty. Like she's been begging to be seen and finally realized she might never be. And the worst realization? It's not that Ju doesn't love her, it's that he might not even notice she's gone until she's no longer there. So what happens now? Do they fix it? Do they fake it for the internet? Or is this the quiet ending to something that already broke a long time ago? Maybe Stephanie needs to stop trying to earn love and start learning to give it to herself. Maybe Drew needs to finally show up, not just physically, but emotionally, fully. Or maybe, they've both built something out of survival that's no longer serving either of them. Either way, this isn't just online drama. It's not just another couple fighting for views. It's a woman falling apart while trying to hold a love that keeps slipping through her hands. So what do you think? Is this about Stephanie wanting too much? Or Ju giving too little? Let's talk in the comments. Like, subscribe, and stick around, because no matter how quiet things get, something always comes next.